Hello and good morning. Welcome to the NAMI Ohio YouthMove press conference. My name is Bryce Coder, and I'm a suicide prevention educator at Helpline of Delaware and Morrow counties. I've also been a member and supporter of YouthMove Ohio since I was in high school, and today, myself and two other young leaders have the opportunity of speaking with you about the needs of youth in our community and how our legislators have an opportunity to impact the lives of our peers. For those who aren't familiar, YouthMove Ohio is a youth advocacy leadership program under NAMI Ohio. Our youth leaders and mentors provide opportunities for young people to partner in addressing the behavioral health needs of multi-system youth across the state of Ohio. Today, we would like to inform you about our concerns and recommendations to help our peers. Our youth leaders are here today representing 18 counties because they care about developing a stronger Ohio for youth, particularly through crisis intervention, peer support, and school-based mental health support. 6 years ago, in this same room, and on behalf of this same organization, I made a plea to expand services and support to young people. At the time, I was a scared, damaged, and lost 22-year-old vying for a position in this world that didn't seem to make sense, struggling to piece together my life, but through all of that haze, I made a plea to fund mental health efforts so not only could I live a better life, but to leave a lasting framework that provided a foundation for those who were also stuck in that same web and couldn't get out. Today, though, I stand before you with a very different perspective. Today, I'm healed, motivated, and sharply cognizant of the power that recovery has to offer. And with this in mind, I strongly urge the General Assembly to pass the governor's original budget, restoring the funds to mental health and prevention, intervention, and 988 services appropriately. As a suicide prevention educator, I work with 24 middle and high schools across Delaware and Morrow counties, offering an evidence-based program called Signs of Suicide to over 4,000 students every year. In this program, we discuss how to identify the signs that a friend may be struggling, how a student can get them to a trusted adult so that they can get the help that they need. Additionally, we offer families the opportunity to allow their student to take a brief survey for adolescent depression, or BSAD, in order to identify any existing symptoms of depression, more importantly, connect them with services when needed. Those services are critical and life-saving. Without the support of crisis intervention, school-based mental health services, and clinical agency partners, these services would not be possible. I here, again, 6 years later, making another impassioned plea that the Ohio Senate must restore Governor Wine's proposed budget for mental health. The semblance of my program rings even louder considering that I myself was a recipient of the same presentation when in high school, where I screened positive and received mental health care for the first time in my life. In consideration of both my lived experience and the reportable data that we collect, we know that this program saves lives for students in the immediate term while giving them long-term tools that encourage support and help-seeking behavior into adulthood. In my work as a prevention educator, I would be mistaken in not highlighting the tireless and dedicated work of hotline and crisis service teams in my counties and across Ohio. The incredible amount of compassion they hold for every single caller rings throughout the culture of our team and agency. Crisis teams around Ohio answer hundreds of 988 calls every single day, not only providing them with support in the immediate term, but giving them the long-term resources they need to survive. The governor's budget allocating funds for 988 services, as well as long-term funding solutions, are the only way forward to provide true peace of mind and confidence for those suffering from mental illness, as crises can happen at any time and in any place. While we applaud the governor's budget, long-term funding solutions for 988 are needed to ensure that our lines are fully staffed, fully operational, and responsive. Agencies need increase to ensure that staff and peer supporters are available, and youth and families are served in an immediate manner, and schools should have the funding they need to implement school-based mental health services and support, allowing early intervention and preventing long-term suffering and even death. These line items are not only a number on a spreadsheet, they are literally critical and life-saving services and should be funded. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Central Ohio YouthMove Region Leader and my new friend, Michael Branch.
Thank you, Bryson. Good morning. My name is Michael Branch. I'm 24 years old, and I am the Central Regional Leader for YouthMove Ohio. In addition to that, I am a college student studying to become an attorney, certified youth peer supporter, chess coach, ending the silence and sources of strength, school-based trainer, and a licensed real estate agent. If that sounds like a lot, it is. I'm here today because I, like my peers, want to ask legislature to restore the governor's mental health budget, but also to talk about working in the mental health field. My personal journey began being raised in a low-income neighborhood by a hard-working single father. The community I lived in had and has a bad reputation for extremely poor outcomes. Violence, poverty, addiction are obvious everywhere. But what is not as obvious is the untreated mental health and trauma that is a critical underlying factor in all the rest of it. I am here, a graduate of Marion Franklin High School, college student, certified peer supporter, and all that because of some very important interventions I received. I was able to receive support from a prevention program offered in my local community center. Through this program, I learned how to handle stress and focus on my education and stability. Bryce and I may appear to have completely different life circumstances, but we share possibly the most important privilege, the privilege of having the opportunity for early intervention and support. I am here and I take on all of these roles because there are not enough workers in the mental health field. There's not enough funding to support the work that needs to happen. I'm sorry. I became a certified youth peer supporter because I wanted to help. When I had the opportunity to help, I did. But there needs to be more funding to support trained professionals to build sustainable programs that work. Mental health and intervention services Bryce and I received are not available to all students who need it. My peers in my community and others around Ohio are struggling and in many cases literally dying. We need the funding to expand these evidence-based services and to support the workforce needed to implement them. And I feel it is my responsibility to give back and help our youth find stability and support. My life goal is to finish law school and practice in a way that benefits my community, maybe teach, maybe run for office, maybe continue to sell houses. We don't always know what the future holds, but I do know I joined my local NAMI in Franklin County because I know with great privilege comes great responsibility. I had the privilege to receive support I needed, and I have the responsibility to give back to others. There's no greater privilege than to be elected to represent the people. Our representatives need to take that privilege and respect the lives of the people they serve. I want to say to our elected officials, we need you to fund these life-saving prevention and intervention programs and workforce to run them. Respectfully, I know your job is hard, but it should be easy to fund what works. Early prevention and intervention work. You have the opportunity to support the governor's mental health budget. You have the opportunity to support us working in the field. You have the opportunity to save the lives of children in Ohio. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next, we'd like to introduce Mariah Ramey. Mariah is a high school student at Canton High School and also an advocate for mental health.
Hi, my name is Mariah Ramey. I am a high school student and a YouthMove Ohio leader from Canton, Ohio. I am here because I care about the lives of my peers, and I want to ask the state legislators to please restore the governor's budget for mental health services in Ohio. As we heard from Bryce and Michael, we know youth, even in the worst of situations, can thrive even in prevention and intervention services. Unfortunately, not all communities and schools have these services. Lack of mental health support in school creates less learning time across the board. Teachers are responsible for students most of their waking hours. There are students who are crying for help, but without the budget, there isn't a way to give that help. Without mental health services, teachers are less able to focus on education. This means even if one student is struggling, the teacher must help them, and this disrupts the entire class, putting more stress and pressure on the teachers, students, and school systems who are already struggling with workforce issues. If we continue to expect schools to take care of all social issues, including mental wellness, the quality of education will continue to get worse. While mental health and learning disorders can lead to students quitting school altogether, the proposed cut by the Ohio House cannot come at a worse time. Students are struggling, I know. I have faced mental health crises, and I have seen my peers struggling every day. According to the CDC, about 1 in 6 high school students are affected by mental health, some sort of health disorder. Anxiety and depression are the most common and most treatable mental health disorders seen in students. So let me wrap it up with these facts. Untreated or undertreated mental health conditions lead to poor outcomes for students, teachers, and all of society. Students without adequate support are more likely to disconnect and drop out of school. Dropouts are more likely to live their lives in poverty, become teen parents, be homeless, be under or unemployed, and be incarcerated. Basic schools-based services can be the key to early intervention and treatment. Most importantly, we need these supports to protect our lives. Suicides are up and continue to rise among young people. Finally, I tell you, I am a low-income 16-year-old high school student from Canton, Ohio. My family is struggling with a recent tragedy, but I am here. My other youth leaders are here overcoming their barriers to get here, but they are here. We are here because we struggle. We are here because we see our peers struggling. We are here to be the voice of all the students, to cry out for help and pray that elected offices will care about our lives and the lives of our peers. Restore the governor's budget to fund and expand school-based mental health services. To see that line item removed in the House was heartbreaking, shocking, and honestly disgraceful. We care about the lives of our children in Ohio. Shouldn't our legislators?
Thank you, Mariah. Once again, we thank you so much for showing up to support youth mental health needs. We hope our legislators hear us as well. If you have a question, please reach out to us at NAMI Ohio or at YouthMove Ohio. And then we invite you to join us for today's Resiliency Ring event and NAMI Ohio's Advocacy Day luncheon, where we'll be hearing from youth leaders, the director of Ohio's Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, Lori Chris, as well as Governor Mike DeWine. Thank you all very much.